What happened in the next 30 seconds left Senator John Cornyn completely speechless and may have just redefined how political debates work in America. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had prepared something that would turn Cornyn's condescending attack into his own political nightmare. The committee room fell silent as Crockett reached for a folder that nobody knew existed. What she pulled out next didn't just embarrass Cornyn, it exposed years of hypocrisy that he thought would never see the light of day. Before we dive into this incredible political showdown, hit that like button if you want to see more moments
where politicians get exactly what they deserve. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss these jaw-dropping political takedowns. The moment Cornyn opened his mouth with that smug smile, thinking he could intimidate the freshman Congresswoman,
from Texas, everything changed. What Crockett did next will be talked about for years. Senator John Cornyn thought he had it all figured out. At 72 years old, he'd been in the Senate for over 2 decades, serving as the senior senator from Texas since 2002. With his perfectly styled silver hair and expensive suits, Cornyn represented everything about the old guard establishment. He'd been Senate Majority Whip, held powerful committee positions, and had a reputation for crushing younger politicians who dared challenge the system. Cornyn's strategy was always the same: use his years of experience and institutional knowledge to make newcomers look foolish. He'd perfected the art of the condescending question, the dismissive tone, and the political eye roll that could make even seasoned legislators feel small. In his mind, a first-term Congresswoman from Dallas didn't stand a chance. But Jasmine Crockett wasn't your typical freshman representative. At 43, she'd already made a name for herself as a civil rights attorney, taking on cases that other lawyers wouldn't touch. She'd defended voting rights, fought against police brutality, and built a reputation for never backing down from a fight, no matter how powerful her opponent. Crockett had grown up in St. Louis, understanding from an early age what it meant to fight for every opportunity. She'd worked her way through law school, built a successful practice, and then shocked everyone by winning her congressional seat in a landslide. Her constituents didn't send her to Washington to play nice with the establishment. They sent her to shake things up. The stakes in this confrontation went far beyond personal rivalry. This represented a generational battle between the old ways of doing politics and the new. Cornyn embodied decades of backroom deals and gentlemen's agreements. Crockett represented a new generation demanding transparency, accountability, and real change. The committee hearing was supposed to be routine, another boring discussion about legislative procedures that most Americans would never see. But when Cornyn decided to make an example of Crockett, he had no idea he was about to step into the political fight of his life. What made this moment even more dramatic was the setting. The ornate committee room, with its high ceilings and formal atmosphere, had been designed to intimidate. The massive mahogany table, the stern portraits of past leaders, the formal protocols, everything was meant to remind people like Crockett that this was Cornyn's world, not hers. But Crockett had done something that Cornyn never expected. While he'd been relying on his reputation and position to carry the day, she'd been doing her homework. The folder sitting in front of her contained information that would change everything. The tension started building the moment the committee session began. Cornyn sat at his position with the kind of casual confidence that comes from decades of political dominance. He shuffled through his papers, occasionally glancing at Crockett with the look of a professor about to school a naive student. "I think it's important," Cornyn began, his voice dripping with condescension, "that newer members of Congress understand how things actually work around here." His eyes locked onto Crockett as he spoke. Sometimes enthusiasm needs to be tempered with experience. The other committee members shifted uncomfortably. They could sense where this was heading. Cornyn had a reputation for these moments, using his position to put younger politicians in their place. But there was something different in the air today. Crockett sat perfectly still, her expression unreadable. Her hands rested calmly on the table, but those who knew her could see the slight tension in her jaw. She was listening, calculating, waiting for the right moment. For instance, Cornyn continued, warming up to his favorite topic. Some members seem to think that making noise on social media is the same as actual legislative work. He paused for effect, letting his words hang in the air. But real change happens through understanding the system, not by attacking it from the outside. The cameras captured every moment. C-SPAN's audience, normally numbering in the thousands, was about to witness something extraordinary. Social media was already starting to buzz as clips of Cornyn's opening remarks began circulating. "Senator Cornyn," came a voice from across the table. It was Congresswoman Crockett, her tone measured but firm. "Are you suggesting that holding the system accountable is somehow inappropriate?" Cornyn's smile widened. This was exactly what he'd been hoping for. "I'm suggesting, Congresswoman, that there's a difference between productive oversight and grandstanding for the cameras." The room fell silent.